So do you ever get that itch to travel to faraway places and see different cultures? Have experiences that go beyond that 1 week or 2 week vacation? It's called the travel bug, and it's telling you something that the world's calling you. When I was younger, I tried to get away at every possible chance. Weekends exploring the south of England or a week somewhere in Europe. But what really got me thinking about long-term travel was reading a book called Jupiter's Travels. The guy, Ted Simon, rode a motorbike around the world for 4 years. He had adventures in every country, and there were a lot of problems along the way. He even got put in jail at one point. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was hooked. It was several years after that I actually left England, and I took a backpack rather than a motorbike. But I'm so glad I left. My life's been full of adventures like skiing in India, island hopping in the Philippines, and swimming next to a whale shark in Thailand. It's been a really full life. Maybe you've always dreamed of backpacking through Southeast Asia, exploring ancient ruins, or getting lost in the big cities. Maybe you want to immerse yourself in the history and culture of Europe. The problem is life seems to get in the way. Going to work, getting caught up in responsibilities and commitments. They all keep you at home. I completely understand. The idea of long-term travel can feel daunting. It requires planning, saving, and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. It also feels kind of irresponsible, especially if you've got a stable job or family obligations. However, postponing travel indefinitely comes with its own risks. Life's unpredictable and opportunities can disappear quickly. I met many older people on my travels, and there's one thing in common. They wish they'd done it earlier. So why is now the perfect moment to consider long-term travel? Firstly, the world is more accessible than ever before. You've got budget airlines, online booking platforms, and a wealth of travel resources. They make it easy and affordable to plan your dream trip. You can find incredible deals on flights, accommodation, and tours, allowing you to stretch your budget further. I actually think that the less money you spend, the more fun you have. That's my experience. The first 6 months of travel were in cheap hostels and traveling on local buses with wooden seats. The adventures of those 6 months would fill a book. I was hiking between huts in the Himalayas, crossing islands in the Philippines in a jeep, with chickens under the seat and pigs tied to the back. I cycled up the coast of Vietnam and got arrested because we weren't supposed to be there. I got caught in floods, landslides, and earthquakes. It was a real adventure. The world is getting more the same everywhere as remote areas become accessible. So explore some of those remote areas still while you can. The second reason to do it now is that remote work is becoming increasingly common. If your job allows it, you can work from anywhere in the world. You can combine travel with your profession. This allows you to earn income while exploring new places and make long-term travel a great option. The third reason is because travel is an experience that changes you for the rest of your life. You discover new things about the world, but also you discover things about yourself. There's a lot more time for self-reflection. From the people you meet, you get a lot of different perspectives. For example, I lived in Taipei, so I've got a lot more knowledge about the history and the problems between Taiwan and China. I traveled in Vietnam and Cambodia, so I've got an in-depth knowledge about what happened during the Vietnam War or in the killing fields. You don't get all that from watching the news or TV documentaries. And one thing you realize is that all of these situations are a lot more complicated than they make out on TV. Now, don't get me wrong, long-term travel isn't always easy. There are a lot of challenges along the way, even dangers some of the time. But I still wouldn't change my experience. These challenges are opportunities for growing and learning. They push you outside your comfort zone and help you develop resilience and problem-solving skills. A couple of years ago, I was crossing the Pyrenees in my camper van, and I stopped overnight by a lake. When I woke up, everything was covered in snow, about a foot of it, and I didn't have any snow chains. I couldn't even see the way to the road. I could have sat there and cried, but nowadays I just see these as interesting challenges. I walked a few yards, then drove a few yards and kept doing that until I was back on the road. The road had been covered in salt, so that was okay. But the snow was freezing on the windscreen and it was still dangerous. I couldn't see properly. I went through a tunnel, and on the other side, people were putting on their snow chains as it was thick snow, but I didn't have any. I went back through the tunnel to find somewhere I could try and get some snow chains. Eventually, maybe 10 hours from setting out that morning, I found somewhere to buy some. I sorted things out. It was really scary, but it was exciting too. So if the idea of long-term travel excites you, you should start planning, research destinations, create a budget, and figure out the logistics. Talk to friends or family who have traveled extensively and seek their advice. If you don't have friends that have done it, then there are plenty of groups on Facebook that you can join. You shouldn't let the fear or uncertainty hold you back from following your dream. Some people say that the perfect moment to do this is when you retire. But the problem is then you won't get yourself in these uncertain situations. So really the best time is now. When you look back on your life, do you want to say it was interesting and eventful or just safe? That's the big question. When I started my long-term travel over 30 years ago, it was more about working in one country for a while and then doing some traveling and then working somewhere else. Nowadays with the internet, you can work and travel at the same time. I've been doing that for about 20 years now, and it's a great way of life. If you're interested in this type of life, I've made a free guide to get you started. You can click the link in the description below to download it. It explains the 4 big keys to taking control of your life and escaping the 9 to 5.